guys and girls, welcome back to my channel. I do hope you're doing well. Guys, I thought the only right thing for this month was to talk all things Ed Gein. If you have not seen the documentary on Netflix, or you've not heard of it, you must have been living under a rock, because it is blooming everywhere. It came out on the 3rd of October. The minute we got back off holiday, we binged it, and I was like, you know what? I didn't know a lot about the man beforehand, but after watching that, you guys will have your opinions. It wasn't what I thought. You almost felt sorry for him in a way, even after the atrocious things that he does. So my lovelies, I asked as always on my Instagram and via email, did you guys want to get involved for Ed Gein? And you have sent them in. So my lovelies, I'm not going to rabbit. Me and my little comfy cushion are going to sit here and we're going to talk all things Netflix, Ed Gein, massacre, the whole shebang. Right. Oh God, guys, I don't know about you, the weather here, atrocious, but has anyone seen, I mean, again, if you haven't seen it, you've been living under a rock, poor Jamaica at the moment with Hurricane Melissa. So from what I've been seeing and following, they said it's a bigger magnitude than Hurricane Katrina, and they think it's going to take out the top part of Jamaica and then follow on to Cuba and Bahamas. And I see some videos of them prepping along Montego Bay and St Anne's Parish, which I think is near Trelawney. They have a lot of parishes and they're all different biblical names. I remember that from when we would do the trips out there. And I don't know, it really saddens me because they're not equipped, and the mayor even said they're not equipped for a category 5. And that's what the hurricane intensified to. I think they said within 12 or 24 hours, it went from a tropical storm to a Cat 4. Like, it amplified. And it's apparently going to be the worst hurricane. Sorry if it looks a little off. Canon decided to just die on me. But, yeah, I've seen the videos of them preparing. And I said to Dan, it's strange and it's hard. Because, like, you look at places you've been and they have a totally different way of life of living out there. And you know, like, their house structures aren't like our house structures. Like, normal winds or little storms for them can take their roofs off and damage their homes. They don't have, like, proper central heating and stuff like that. And I said to Dan, this could, like, wipe out some of the little villages out there, and it will take them a long, long time to rebuild. Like, the big chain hotels, they might have the money behind them to rebuild, but it's not going to be for, like, your little shop owners or people who need the livelihood, say, for example, fishermen and everything like that. So I am keeping a monitor on it because I don't know where I've been to the island. I don't know, I feel very saddened by it because they didn't deserve it and it come out of nowhere, like absolutely nowhere. So yeah. If anyone has any more geographical knowledge than myself, because I can't lie, I don't really know the ins and outs to do with hurricanes and everything like that. But yeah, it's not. And like, we've got winds and rain here and I'm like, it is nothing. It is not even on a scale compared to what they are suffering out there. And here in England, everything's stopping at the moment with the rain. The amount of accidents and road closures, and I'm just like, if anything like that was to happen over here, how on earth would England be prepared? It just wouldn't beg to believe. Right. That's made me very sad now. I'm just trying to find the thing, guys, because I've got it all screenshotted. So, on to terms of Ed Gein, which was what the video was here for, the scandals with Shan of Ed Gein. Starts off, I've watched most of the series, however I found it boring in certain parts. It was very interesting, his psycho him. So, when we was on holiday, it come out whilst we was away, and we was like, nope, you know what, we'll watch it when we get back, and it will be like our little thing. And I was seeing really, really mixed reviews. Some people were saying, oh my God, this is his best acting, this is like by far the best monster. And then some people was like, I've watched the first episode and I'm bored. Like, it's so far-fetched, it's ridiculous, he looks a fool, don't bother watching. And I saw a few more negatives than I saw positives at the time. And I said to Dan, I don't know if I want to watch it, like, because it might ruin, I don't know what it is, but you know, if you see an actor and they do like a poor acting thing, you sometimes are a bit like, I didn't want it to ruin, because I really like Charlie Hunnam, like back in Green Street days, Sons of Anarchy. I didn't want it to like ruin my thoughts and feelings about him as an actor. Like, have they just made him look like an absolute tit, basically? And then I saw some positive ones, and people was like, it really gives a better insight to what maybe the books don't tell us really about his childhood or his upbringing. And Dan was like, look, we will make our own judgment. So that we did. We watched the first episode, and I can't lie, we was like, WTF. Okay, you could clearly see from the first episode some things weren't quite right. There was definitely problems and issues, let's say, and back in those times there wasn't really the medical and mental health research available to diagnose him properly. I think they diagnosed him as schizophrenic, and in his head, like, everything was fine. The way he was portrayed, he was almost like a little bit of a loner. He was just with his mum, but he wanted to be accepted, and he didn't know, he was like copying what other people did. Like, if he saw a man speak to a woman, that's what he thought he would do. And there was a scene and they're like, come on now, like, you're scaring the girls. And he's like, I didn't mean no harm. And then obviously he goes back, and it's very, very different with his mother. I linked it a bit to Hidden Valley Road book. So they always said that through medical research or psychology, I can't remember what exactly it was, but it was something to do with overprotecting and overbearing mothers. It done something within the boys' brains that made them the way they were. And I said to Dan about it, and I was like, it's almost like you see it in real life. Like, the things that she said, the things she done. She caught him and was like, you do not do that, and you don't go near a woman, and heaven forbid you have a child. So in a way, he was almost brainwashing him that he couldn't do any better. Like, she always used to say, only a mother could love you. And you think, you're hearing that from a young age, and with the way he was, it probably didn't sit well with him. And I think he genuinely just craved like a woman's attention to like him and love him. And we saw, it was a very weird thing with him and Adeline. I can't lie, I didn't really understand that. I feel she definitely took advantage, and she was definitely as bad as him. She was encouraging him, I think, as well, to the fact, for her professional gain, which didn't really go the way that she wanted. And I kind of thought like, well, that's on you, that's your karma, love. But even like with his brother, he genuinely, after what happened, because I don't want to say too much in case you guys are watching it, but after what happened, in his head everything was fine, and he was like, bye. And then obviously that's not the case, and potentially his mother went a bit down spiral because of that as well. And then apparently, yeah, he had his final days in like a mental asylum, basically. I can't lie, the last few episodes, I think it was the last two, when he was put in the asylum, they was a bit like, you did start to feel, well, I felt empathy towards him, because there's things that he done, and it was so real. And watching it, you think, like, I mean, Dan was watching it, it was like, how is this happening? Like, how has he got that connection? And then you find out at the end, it wasn't all what it seemed. And that was quite sad, because he also then, he's trying to work out himself what's wrong with him. And yeah, I think it was a very, very well written script from the Monsters producers. However, Dharma just pips it for me, because I feel there's a little bit more action to Dharma. I can see how you may have found it boring in some parts, because in some parts it was just like slow pace, but maybe that was his life. He was like a little countryman. And yeah, the fact as well, it flips to, you see another serial killer in it at the end, and then you actually see a couple more at the end, but the one that they kind of focus on, and there was a part where something happened, and I said to Dan, oh my god, like, did that happen? Did he actually help? And of course we googled, and it wasn't. But again, in his head, he felt he'd done good. And it was just, I don't know, very, very well written. And to see then from years down the line, they kind of showed like what films he'd inspired. And there's been a lot of franchises made off of this man. And I believe to this date, there hasn't been anyone that has done all of the things he done accumulative being a modern day serial killer. I think people have done certain things, cannibalism, decapitation, stuff like that, but never all together. And I don't believe there has been another serial killer that skinned, dug up and wore. If I am, please correct me and let me know the name, because I would love to investigate, because I'm a little bit tapped like that. I do like my serial killer and true crime documentaries, but I don't think there's been someone who's done that. But I get that, as I say, each to their own. However, I would give it like a good 9 out of 10. I just wish there was a little bit more action, which I know Netflix put bits in, but obviously you can't over-dramatise stuff because you still have to keep to some form of life and true facts. So yeah, I did enjoy it. It was a shocking watch, but it was weird as I felt sorry for him and then didn't. I felt very, very confused. I get that, as I say, it's 1 minute you're sitting there like absolutely horrified and like, what on earth is, like, what is going through his head? And then as you develop down into the case and you find out bits about his childhood and you find out about his upbringing and how he's trying to conduct himself, and he constantly has the flashbacks and he's constantly living in a la la land, in essence, because he believes everyone is there and that isn't the case. And then, as I say, at the end, when he is put inside like the mental asylum, you see the different side in a way, but he's not in control of it, and it's kind of like, oh, okay. I say there was that scene where, if you watch it, you know what I go on about, like he talks and then the nurse sees him and it's not what you think the other side. So yeah, I am with you. It is confusing because you think, how can I have empathy for someone who has done absolutely atrocious things? But it was a very well written story for monsters. I haven't seen the documentary, but I've always watched his films. Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the original, You Will Never Be. Now, I think Texas Chainsaw Massacre, I've seen it once. If I remember, an abandoned house, I feel like it's a group of friends and a couple stray off and they go in and it's very much like they see the skin, there's like body parts being cooked, and then the man comes out with the mask and he chases them with the chainsaw. And that's where it comes from, I believe. If that is not the original, please do let me know. I don't know if there's been any remakes of it, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I know Alfred Hitchcock did Psycho. I haven't seen Psycho. Dan has, because there was a bit and he was like, it's a shower scene. And I'm like, huh? Like, I haven't seen some of like the old school horrors. So I definitely feel something that is what I need to do. But yes, Leatherface, they mentioned as well. Again, I haven't seen that. If anyone else has seen these horror films, are they worth a watch? Or if you know if he inspired any others, please do let me know. I've not seen it yet, but we'll be watching on Netflix very soon. I've seen clips of it, and you never think someone could do these things, but it happens all over the world these days, and it's very scary. So the thing was, when it come about, he was so like shocked. He comes back and you'll see this, and it's not too much of a spoiler. Obviously, you guys know he gets caught. So he comes back and obviously the police are tearing the place apart. And he's like, why is everyone here? Like, he thinks it's a party or something. And then obviously they go to arrest him and he's like, what are you doing? Like, he genuinely doesn't believe what he done was wrong. And I think he referred to it as like just a strange hobby. And you think, right, we have hobbies and you can have strange hobbies, but I think digging up dead bodies, skinning them and then wearing them, I think is a bit more than a weird hobby. But, as I say, all over the world, when me and Dan done the serial killer exhibition at the beginning of this year, it was an eye-opener indeed for the rest of the world. Because obviously you hear about UK, you might hear about America. You don't really hear about like international serial killers. And we saw a lot in Europe, a lot over Asia. We didn't really see many within like South America. Not from what I can remember. There was a few in North America. And then you had Asia. There was a couple in Australia. The lady Aileen, she was very heavily spoke about. And some of them were well into double digits. And then you look at Ed Gein and they say he murdered 2. There's thoughts and actions that potentially could have been 5 or 7. But some of these, I remember we saw one and he was called the Chess Killer. And he only had to kill one more person. And in his head, he'd done a chessboard. And I think he kept parts of each person and he was building like a human chessboard. Like, that thing is next level. That is the stuff that you don't see on Netflix. And I'm like, why? If anyone from Netflix, you should have gone to that serial killer exhibition, because you probably would have had about 200 monster series coming, because they was ranging all over the world back to Jack the Ripper days. So yeah, it was a really, and that was where we found out that Jack the Ripper, they believe took inspo from Jack the Ripper, but a French edition. There was someone had something and someone in Paris doing the same thing. And yeah, I said to Dan the other day, I was like, was the serial killer exhibition this year or last year? And he was like, it's this year, weren't it? And I had to go back on my phone and I was like, oh, that seems so freaking long ago. But I have had an email about a really random thing for next year. Crime Con. Guys, I'm really contemplating it. But the tickets, jeez! The tickets are almost £300. And I think it's only one day. And I'm like, it's got to be worth, like, there's got to be a reason it's that much money. So I'm going to try and look on YouTube, because apparently it went on last year. I think it was up in Birmingham or Manchester. Or if any of you guys know about it or have been to it, please do let me know, because I'm really contemplating it for next year. I definitely want to get more spooky stuff on the channel next year. Because we're changing slightly when we're going away, which, oh guys, when I tell you the travel plans for next year, you're just, I don't think anyone's going to guess it. But something's happened that falls bang in the middle, and it's just completely scarpered what we had planned. And then in the space of 2 hours, we've just completely sorted summer out, and we're like, this is very different. Like, the holiday itself is very different. What we're doing, where we're going. But you know what? It's an adventure. We're going to go with it. And yeah, that will probably catch you up in another vlog or something. But yeah, it's just a bit chaotic at the moment. However, it means that we're going to actually be in the country for the whole of October, which is really good, because I haven't been in the country for October for years. I'm always at like the first half of it. And I really want to get involved. So like, I want like spooky houses. I want tours. We actually remembered, if you see in the mukbang with Mum, we was talking and I was like, I'm sure Dan got me something to do with a prison. So Dan actually got me a prison ghost tour for my birthday. When we looked into it, it was only available on a Wednesday. I can't travel to these places, well, neither of us can, on a weekday at 8 o'clock at night. So I think we're going to exchange it and still do the prison tour, but like a daytime, just a guided tour around an old prison. And then we're going to try and sort out like a ghost one maybe into October. So definitely haunted houses, scare mazes, send them all to me. I mean, obviously 2026 is still a bit away. I'll probably have to remind you near the time. But yeah, it's I definitely want a bit more spookiness on the channel. And then the last one, my lovelies, hope you're doing well. Thank you very much. Horror films and crime is all I watch. I love crime things, especially true crime. I've read all about the Krays, the Moors murders, and I'm very interested in psychopaths. I would love to interview one. I want to know what's in their heads, and I would have a list of questions for them to what makes them tick. I'm with you there, because I had this big idea about, what are we now? November. I'm going to say just after my birthday. So after I finished my marketing course, I loved learning. And that probably sounds really strange or geeky at my age. Like, you've done your school, be done with it. I loved getting involved in the course and, I don't know, getting myself like stuck back into something and actually feeling like I'm educating myself. So Shannon looked into university. Yeah. I don't think I'm going to be going to uni anytime soon, guys. I did not realise how extortionate the fees were. Honestly. And it guttens me because I found the course that I wanted to do. And it was a master's degree in criminology and psychology with forensic testing as like a subcategory. And I saw it and I liaised all with the university. I got start term dates. I mean, I probably should have asked the course price before looking into the dates. But I asked for the course dates. We found like when they was enrolling, like what the process was. You didn't really have to go to the campus much apart from your final testing. And then it come to the final bit and it was a 4-year course. So in my head, I was thinking, right, like 31 to 35, I'd be qualified. I could then go into like mental hospitals, prisons, hospitals. Like you could go into so many avenues with it. And then the woman sent through the price and me being me, I was like, is that for 4 years? I'm thinking, I could do that. I could manage that. No, that was the price per term. And I was just like, I was like, okay. But I am still in contact with the lady because she sends me through when the new terms and they release the dates and the prospectus and like all the payment offers and that. And I was like, when it got broke down, the monthly payment wasn't too bad. But I was like, you know what? For the moment, with all my other expenditures and outgoings, I can't put that lump sum. Like, that's almost a car payment every month. And it gutted me, I can't lie. But I've still got course dates. I've still got all of the 2026 course dates. Who knows? If I have a little win on the lottery, I might be able to put myself into education. But yeah, can you imagine like me being like a criminologist? Oh, guys, I'd freaking love that. Absolutely would love it. And then she follows off with serial killers I watch all the time. I've watched many documentaries on them. I do believe that everyone has the killer instinct in them and will use it when the wrong button is pressed. A serial killer, however, you only have to kill 2 people. It's not loads of killings you have. So it's horror and crime all the way for me. And that was something that I didn't realise. We didn't realise apart from until we went to the serial killer exhibition that it's only 2 people to be classed as a serial killer. Like, I was thinking 5. I think Dan thought 7 or 8. But it's 2. So, when they're like a murderer, a mass murderer, like, is mass murderer classed as a serial killer? Because if you've only got to kill 2, like, mass for me is like, you're well into your 10s, like a mass of people. But yeah, serial killers only have to be classed as a serial killer for killing 2 people, which, I don't know, that baffles me. I don't know if that's changed in years or laws, but I thought it was a hell of a lot more. And my lovelies. Me and my little friend here, we are all Ed Gein out, and we're actually now just wanting for the next series because they're going to have Lizzie Borden. And then if you've seen the post, they're going to be doing Gacy, Manson, Bundy, the Australian lady. There's someone called Nana and a few others. I think there's like 7 or 8 that are planned in this pipework. And I said to Dan, I would love for him to bring it all out on a big box set DVD. He was like, what is it with you and DVDs? I was like, I don't know, I love a box set. I love it. So, yes, my lovelies, that is the end of Scandals with Shan. And I don't know, what should we do next month for Scandals? Because we are coming into the festive period, so I think talking about true crime might be a little bit morbid, I can't lie. But yeah, if you've got any ideas, let me know. If you did enjoy the video, you know what to do. Hit that thumbs up and subscribe down below and leave us a comment. Have you seen the documentary? What do you think of him? Or who do you think is maybe the worst serial killer that they categorise as? And if you've been CrimeCon or know anything about it, please let me know. Guys, take care, stay safe as always, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye! Mwah.